Okay. Hi guys. So
Hi.
nice to meet
Hello.
you. I'm Leia. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the film because I love folklore, especially Irish folklore and things like that. And so I was really excited to see this film when it was listed. So I kind of first wanted to start off with, even though there is this general kind of struggle, it's about a creature that's kind of lurking. The main kind of struggle is about parenthood and grief. Um, and so there's grief that kind of is all throughout the film, and you see it in the way that the characters interact with each other. So what was that process kind of like about exploring these different stages of grief that Nicholas has with everyone?
Yeah, so the original seed for the idea was a doppelganger. We thought that the idea of seeing your own doppelganger was scary, and so that was where the seed started growing. And then we landed on mental health pretty early on, thinking that, oh well, if you're seeing your own doppelganger, something's going on. And from that process, we developed the feature. Originally, the film was a short film that we made in 2016 called Hangman, and it's just very simple: a guy alone in a house, seeing his doppelganger. And when we decided to develop it into a feature, we felt like we needed more substance there, and for to draw for the actors and for the character to be drawn from. And we quickly got into, oh, loss bringing upon, grief being and mental health being inspired by loss. And it was just a gradual process trying to figure out the script. We wrote the script for 6 years trying to figure out the best avenue to take the story down, and we ultimately landed with, a main character whose loss of his child shatters his marriage, and leaves him in a space where he needs to, you know, pick the pieces back up again. So I think we may have lost
Are
her.
you still there? I think we lost her.
She
Yeah.
seemed to have a bad connection.
Yeah, she was frozen.
Oh, she's back.
Oh, hello.
She's reconnecting.
You know what? Let's switch places just in case I
Okay.
put my bags over there. It's gonna be a whole lot to do. No, I can go that way.
It'll be a
Okay,
comedy routine.
let's
Here
go.
we go.
Let's go. Hi.
Hey.
Hi again. Sorry, I don't know what just happened. And so one thing I also really love is like I said, the use of folklore. It kind of helps explore a lot of the inner workings of the main characters and specifically Nicholas and how there's so much regret and he kind of goes back and forth thinking about the past and the present and what he wishes he could have done, but also reflecting on his childhood. And I'm curious for the actors, like what was the experience kind of like combining these elements of like the creature of the fetch with also grief to kind of almost kind of create Nicholas's like madness.
Yeah. Well, for an actor, it's an amazing role. It's there's so many different elements. It's so layered. There was so much to dig into and so much to explore. Um, and I was really glad to have a good amount of time with it. And a lot of, long conversations with JC. Um, and it was kind of piece by piece, layer by layer, kind of discovering how can I connect to these circumstances, how can I connect to the unraveling of Nicholas's mind and the manifestation of this fetch. And I think really trying to anchor myself in an authentic experience and feeling of grief and loss and fear of lack of control of my circumstances, or the fear of not being able to trust my senses. I think that's one of the most terrifying thoughts to me. What if what I see I can't trust? It's my whole experience. And what if what I'm hearing isn't actually there, but you know, according to my senses, this is a real experience. And so it was a very dynamic experience. I had to take I kind of utilized a lot of different tools, you know, like script analysis, like really kind of digging into like what is here in the script for me, which was a lot. And then it was, well, what is inside of me that I can mine, that I can connect to this character. And then it was using, you know, really, I really used music a lot, you know, for the different portions of Nicholas's experience. Music really was a thing that I could connect to certain scenes, and it would be able to get me there in the minutes before we shoot. If we had to, you know, a few times we had to shuffle the schedule, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm doing a scene that's very intense, and I don't have, you know, much time to like hop into the psychology of that scene. I can just pop on that song, and it can take me right there. You know, and then the support of the casting crew was perfect. I felt very comfortable and safe to just like no, like, you know, there's no going 50% on any of these scenes. It's 100% or nothing. And I'm just glad that, you know, my 100% was able to be captured and edited and, you know, responded to, and, you know, it just really worked out.
Another thing that I really love is I always love when the house kind of feels like like a character of itself, and how everyone just really inhabits it. And one thing that I really liked is kind of as the movie progresses, you kind of start seeing the house change in the way everybody kind of walks around it and the way the blocking is. And so as actors, what was like kind of the blocking changing, kind of going off on each other? Because it is like an ensemble cast, and I feel like ensemble casts really bring out like the best out of each other, especially in settings like this. So how is it working with the ensemble cast in this?
Um, I mean, it was great, you know, I like what you're saying about the house feeling like it was a character as well. I mean, it really was. And there was some scary things in that house because there was like a wasp hive in my room, which is terrifying. No, but you know, one thing that we were talking about before that I really loved about working on this film was that so much of the horror that you see in it was actually there. You know, he was actually in makeup as the fetch, and the house was actually changing because of art department, and um, so it really gave you something to react with and not just imagine, or just like a, you know, a green screen with things taped to it that you're acting with. I'm such a fan of practical, you know, effects, and I think that for us as actors, like that's just such a thing I don't want to see disappear with, like, I mean, we already have seen so much of it disappear with CGI, but like that's sort of the new threat with AI, is that like you won't
Yeah.
even need a set designer. And I don't know, I love being in an environment that's
Yeah.
changing, and it's changing you. You're reacting with it.
Yeah.
And the days that he was in makeup as the fetch, I mean, I didn't see it till like the very end of shooting, and it was, you know, it actually elicited something from me. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. You know, we had amazing people, Reese, Camille, doing the set and making it feel like we were in this creepy house. And then we had Eli and his crew doing, you know, a fantastic job lighting it, you know? And so like we really were supported by
Yeah.
our crew,
Yeah.
you
And
know, like
I want to mention like the costumes, like how it changed. The fetch costume changes
100%.
throughout the film. It gets worse and worse as
Yeah.
Nicholas's psychosis worsens. The fetch costume
Yeah.
gradually evolves into like a dirtier, grungier,
Yeah.
more corpse-like.
Yeah, as actors, we were supported in every way, you know, from what we were wearing to what we were seeing. You know, in this creepy old house, sometimes it was like what we were smelling,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like it was the full experience.
Yeah, and some of it was budgetary constraints too. Like if we knew that like if we could not afford to do it for real, we couldn't do it. So we wrote our script with those parameters in mind. Like Alexa said, not having green screen is like, well, if we couldn't afford to do it for real, we just couldn't do it. So we stuck to those parameters, and I hope the film is better, all the better for it. So
Yeah.
No, you can definitely tell that there's like a lot of love obviously put into the whole script, even if like what you're saying, like you have to take certain things out. Another thing is that there's kind of this emphasis on childhood, kind of, and even when Nicholas is his son, and even in the very beginning when we kind of see what's going on, all throughout there's like little motifs of like Bubble Bear, which I love the Bubble Bear thing. I don't know, I just kind of enjoyed seeing it all the time. Um, and so I love that there is this kind of motif on childhood. So I would love to know if is this kind of intended to represent not only Nicholas's loss of his son, but also kind of losing himself and how it kind of began during his
Yeah, definitely. Like, like we never say explicitly in the film like what Nicholas's psychosis diagnosis is because we wanted it to be sort of an umbrella for just mental health and grief in general. But that said, like, particularly with like schizophrenia in our research, a lot of times that doesn't really manifest until later, but it can be triggered by trauma and a lot of mental health mental breakdowns can be triggered from events that you're reminded of that happened in your past
Like
that
a
you might have
re-trauma.
like a retrauma. And so we wanted to really write that into the story and make sure that like Nicholas's character experienced something when he was a child that he blocked for the rest of his life and he never even told his wife about. And there's actually a little bit of the film that was cut out that explained a little bit more of that. But yeah, we definitely wanted to show that like that grief and trauma is not just one thing that happens to you. It can be a buildup of things over the years and family trauma and lifetime trauma that just manifests in many different ways.
Right. And it's not about getting rid of it, it's about coming into relationship with it,
Exactly.
because it's not necessarily going to disappear.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is going to be my last question, but we're asking everyone this at Austin Film Festival. It's like a kind of generic question to ask everyone, and also want to ask you guys is what is a genre that you guys would love to see explored more in screenplays?
Oh man. For me, that's tough. I mean, I love horror, but man, sci-fi, I feel like is man, it's probably one of my favorite things right now is sci-fi, and I'm hoping that it continues to get more love, as we go for it. Man, I'm just like I want to see more sci-fi, especially now that sci-fi is becoming more just reality. I want to see more crazy sci-fi now because AI is now real, right? It's like it's not science fiction anymore. So I want to see crazier stuff in sci-fi.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For me, I love things that are I like genre hybrids,
Yeah.
so I really love, for me to just see something that's dramatic without having moments of being able to laugh in it is like it feels so dated to me. I love when there's all these different colors and maybe harder to pin down one specific genre. I really like overlaps.
Yeah. I I really want to see an investment in like really smart comedies.
Yeah.
Like dramedies really.
Yeah,
Like you were
exactly.
saying, like
Yeah.
something that has a heart but like really makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it's time for that to come back around. I think we all need to have some more laughs.
Yeah.
But I also think horror is a great vehicle for telling story.
Yeah.
I love sci-fi elements, but I think if I'm going with one, it's yeah, comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to go horror because it always just like leaves me on the end of my seat, makes me jump, and like just it's kind of like more interactive than like other films.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. That's really
I
good.
think I'm writing a sci-fi script, so that's why I think I'm in the sci-fi head.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
I love
No, we love sci-fi scripts. Sci-fi scripts are great. Also, yeah, I agree about the comedies and the horror. I feel like we absolutely need more of these. And I think this one is a really great psychological kind of horror, but also going based off of like you said, mental health and kind of trauma and loss and grief. Well, thank you guys so much. I really
Thank
loved
you.
watching this, and I loved everyone's performances as well. Like, I think you guys absolutely killed it.
Thank you.
Um, and yeah, congratulations. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your festival.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
much.